We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do us well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. Do not forget to ring the notification bell. If you want to support this independent national college football rebel outpost with a donation to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel, just hit that $sign where you make a comment and I will get you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the speculation zone. The speculation zone. It is written on the title screen. Speculation zone. Golden Blue Dude. The legend. Golden Blue Dude. West Virginia Mountaineer. Big 12 YouTube channel. Extraordinaire. He left us April of 2023. But he never is going to be forgotten. And the next time we see Golden Blue Dude, it will be forever. Speculation zone. Welcome on into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. I see right off the bat, Nathan is having problems once again with the show. Clickbait. Wow. Texas Tech ain't going to that dying conference. Now, we do not do a lot of these speculation zone shows because I don't want to get them mixed up with the true, authentic steam, information, data, chatter behind the curtain that we receive here at Peek Around the Corner. But today I decided to do a speculation zone. Something that there is no chatter. Well, I have not heard of any chatter behind the curtain. But there was an article written today that I read it, and it was mainly it was a speculation type of article from our friend Jim Williams. And I thought it was quite interesting. I pondered it. I thought about it. And because Cody Campbell is involved in this, because of all the issues that are happening right now with Texas Tech and the Big 12, and we'll go through them, I thought, it's a Saturday. It's a Saturday, July 11th. And again, we're going to talk college football. We are doing the spotlight on the East Carolina Pirates. Who else in college football national YouTube out there? Who else is covering all of these teams? We are on a 74th spotlight today. I think 73, 74. We're covering the G6 teams. We've been talking a lot of football. We've been talking about a lot of off-field stuff. I thought today was a pretty good day to go into enter the golden blue dude speculation zone. Reading that article, it struck me as at least plausible, although unlikely, at least in the near term. But as you unravel the speculation, I can completely understand the high motivational factor that the ACC, why they would think about this. I don't know if they have the cojones to pull this off. I don't know if you look at the title of our show, I don't know if they would be aligned enough to pull this off. The schools that would probably not be in favor of it are probably more the schools that they believe will have a P2 landing spot. There is a lot to ponder here. So again, if this did get ignited, again, we are in the speculation zone. We are in the speculation zone. Brandon, zero chance Texas Tech would switch to the ACC. Is it 0%? Is it? Craig's reporting Texas Tech to the ACC. Preston, come on, man. Don't even put that up there. Don't even put that. Okay. Is it 0%? Is it 0%? I don't think anything is 0% with Cody Campbell. Talking about how the Big 12 schools got to elevate themselves, or we're going to have trouble with those institutions. The Big 12 is still being dragged over the coals on how they acted during the Brendan Sorsby situation. Cody Campbell, the Big 12 still wants Cody Campbell to pay the bills on, or the Texas Tech to pay the ACC legal bills. And then, I don't know what, do we know is there any backlash in Lubbock, Texas? Cody Campbell, Daniel Gygax, the other Big 12 representatives in this PATC chat room. Has there been any reports, any speculation, any steam? Is there any backlash in Lubbock, Texas and Cody Campbell to the Monster Energy deal that Brett Yormark did? And let me stir the pot even a little bit more. We are going to go back and we are just setting the table. We are just setting the table. We are squarely in the speculation zone. No one has brought this to my attention except for this Jim Williams article that I thought was quite interesting. And we're going to read it. If Texas Tech did get to the point where they gave Jim Phillips a call, looking at the advantages that the ACC does have, they do have some advantages over the Big 12, even though they're probably, most likely, I think most definitely going to get poached, going to lose their top brands. But they do have the ACC network. They're going to have a lot of exit fee money being spread around. We don't know if the Big 12 would be successful in poaching the ACC. There is this economic forces of consolidation that is still going to be happening after whatever the Big 10 and the SEC does. I think those forces, economic consolidation, is going to probably press for a third conference to rise up above the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh. Cody Campbell, could he be the one that triggers the beginning of that third major super conference? We're just speculating. That's all we're doing. We are just speculating. We're not trying to cause any damage. We're not trying to get anybody upset. And if Cody Campbell, let's stir the pot a little bit more. Let's stir the pot a little bit more. If Cody Campbell, again, we are in our speculation zone. If he did call the ACC, again, it's obvious. Cody Campbell and Brett Yormark relationship isn't all that good. The Red Raiders relationship with the other Big 12 schools are not all that good. If, and we are not reporting that it happened because we have not heard any indication that it has. If Cody Campbell did call Jim Phillips, my next question is this, and then we're gonna leave it lie, and then we're gonna go into the spotlight, East Carolina Pirates, and then we're gonna come back to this. We are gonna read the Jim Williams article. If Cody Campbell called Jim Phillips and said, "What do you think?" And Jim Phillips says, "Well, we might have some interest." It's going to cost Cody Campbell a lot of money because, again, there is no clear pathway out of the Big 12. You got the grant of rights, but Cody Campbell's got a lot of money. Cody Campbell has been big, very big, on regionality, right? It's part of his Protect College Sports Act. It was part of his Saving College Sports Plan. We got to go back to our region. We got to be regional. I do think that Cody Campbell probably knows or is getting ready to understand that what he wants in that Cruising Cantwell bill probably isn't going to pass. So let's say that doesn't pass. Let's say that Section 205 doesn't happen. Cody Campbell calls Jim Phillips and says, "Yeah, we're interested. UACC, you might want to strike first. You might not want to wait to get poached and then have the Big 12 be the vultures. You might want to strike first not only with us, but a couple of our neighbors. So we can maintain some regionality over here on the west side of the ACC. And if Cody Campbell did that, where does that lead us? Who would be his neighbors that would be interested in joining the ACC? Knowing that the ACC is probably going to get poached, but knowing that exit fee money is going to get spread around, knowing that ESPN's probably not going to want to give up ACC network, knowing that Notre Dame does not want to give up their quasi-independence, knowing that they might be joining a conference that would have the Notre Dame fight an Irish rub, knowing that the Big 12, if they left the Big 12 might leak, might drop further away from the ACC, even if the ACC gets poached. Could there be an unraveling? Could there be a Texas Tech? Oh, I don't know. Oklahoma State? I don't know. BYU addition to the ACC? We are in the speculation zone. There is no steam on this. But a very interesting article coming out of Jim Williams. Cody Campbell is the wild card of all wild cards. We're going to talk about it. We are going to talk about it. First of all, Bruce Harris, Boomer Sooner, talking about how Greg the Gold is going to re-emerge. Or emerge for the first time. Greg is so cold. I wish he was standing next to me right now in Texas. He could follow me through the golf course and I'd have to wear a jacket. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Thank you for the $5 holler, Bruce Harris. Thank you, Boomer Sooner. I very much appreciate your generosity. Again, this time next year, I'm not going to be able to help you. This time next year, you're not going to want me anywhere around you during the summer because I'm going to be known as Greg the Heater. Greg the Gold. Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate your generosity as always. Mohr Simmons is in the house. We've got John Famlor. We got Bob Swanger. We've got Brandon UN Ra is in the house. MBM is here, the Oklahoma State Cowboy. I put the comments in the middle of the screen. I've also made it hopefully bigger that can carry more characters. We'll see how this works. Again, the Minnesota moron does not know what he's doing. MBM, exit fee money in that Big 12 is just behind the ACC, and we've been picked apart, left for dead, and still kicking. Let me ask you a question, MBM. Let me ask you a question. I see a lot of people are saying this would never happen. No way is the Texas Tech Red Raiders. No way would they ever call the ACC. Your cheese have slipped off your cracker, Greg. You might be right. Again, we're in the speculation zone. We're going to read a very interesting article that came out today. But let me ask you a question, Mr. Oklahoma State Cowboy. Let's say things really got rough between the Red Raiders and the Big 12. Things are a little, you got to admit, things are a little bit uneasy right now, right? And Cody Campbell decided to call the ACC. And he goes, well, I need a football brand. I need crazy loving college football people next to us. We got to maintain regionality. Let's call Oklahoma State. Let's see if Oklahoma State wants to become an ACC member along with the Red Raiders, along with BYU. MBM, Oklahoma State would take the phone call, but MBM, what would Oklahoma State say at that time to Cody Campbell? We're not interested? Bam! Or let us know how that first conversation goes with ACC? Bam! Or would it be, well, we'd like to keep our options open. We don't like that Monster Energy deal. We sure like to be on that ACC network. Maybe we could play Notre Dame one out of every 8, 7, 9 years. We stick with you, Texas Tech. We might go with BYU. ACC will probably get poached, but we might have North Carolina State. We would have Louisville. We would definitely have some Florida teams. We might have an East Carolina. We might have a USF. We would have bigger markets. We'd still have Stanford. We'd be in the same conference as Stanford and California. Yeah, Cody. We'll take the Zoom call with you, and we'll be talking to the ACC. What do you think, MBM? What do you think? MBM has his answer. Oklahoma State won't leave the Big 8 North members behind to join Tech in the ACC. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. MBM and the Oklahoma State Cowboys are loyal. Absolutely loyal. Okay. Again, we're going to go through some very kind super chats. We're going to go through the article that I think does a great job of speculating on this. We've got Mr. Hawkeye. Mr. Hawkeye, $2 holler. My speculation zone has lots of steam. I'm sure it does, Jacoba Cat. I do not doubt you for a moment. Thank you for the $2 holler. I appreciate it. MBM, once the top 4 brands leave the ACC is on the same level as the PAC. No one above the G6 will make that move. But again, I ask you, it is probably why the ACC could get mighty aggressive and again doing the proactive backfill like they did with California, Stanford, and SMU. They added those schools because they knew what they believe they know what the future is. They're going to lose some schools, right? But if they do it again, if they entice a Texas Tech, if they entice an Oklahoma State, if they entice a BYU, if they entice a West Virginia, ESPN, ACC backing them up, to start this war to say, look, we're not going to sit here and just lay down. We're not going to be here. We're not going to have the Big 12 vultures circling around us after we get picked apart by the Big 10 and SEC. Let's start the next wave of backfill. Again, this is going to have to start. None of this is going to be possible. Again, we are spending our time in the speculation zone. None of this is even possible, in my belief, to happen. Unless Cody Campbell completely loses it. And I think there may be a chance that it happens. It may be a chance that it happens. Evil Badger. Look at the Evil Badger $10 holla. Evil Badger, is it true the ACC pursued Penn State after the Big Ten added Nebraska? JR with, I had a story with Penn State, wasn't happy with that in Nebraska. That's why the Big Ten added Rutgers and Maryland. I think pursue, I don't know if pursue is the right word. Maybe it is. I cannot confirm that. I will confirm that Jim Delaney thought it was necessary for the Big Ten to become a two-region conference, and that they needed a bridge to Penn State. They needed to have neighbors for Penn State. They needed to be an East Coast conference as well as a Midwest conference. They needed that extra time zone. They needed the demographics. They went after North Carolina. They did not get them. The Big Ten went after Virginia. They did not get them. The Big Ten went after Georgia Tech and did not get them. And then it was up to Maryland and Rutgers. And if Maryland would have said no, the Big Ten would not have expanded. If Maryland says yes, the Big Ten's going to go with Maryland and Rutgers. And Maryland said yes. And Maryland would not be a Big Ten member today if the president at the time did not have the authority, the autonomy to make the move. But in their setup, in the Maryland setup, the president at that time had full authority. And that president at that time says, yes, we're going to do it. So that's how it happened. There was some nervousness around Penn State in the ACC. Absolutely. Before the Big Ten went into the expansion and became one of the two dominant schools, one of the two dominant conferences, they were worried about Penn State, and so they were looking to expand out on the East Coast. So that part is true. Thank you, Eva Badger. Thank you for the $10 holler, your generosity. Thank you for so much. Jacoby Cat, the Iowa Hawkeye. I know he's going to give me a compliment because that's the type of guy he is. That is the type of guy he is. Greg is so cold that Greg the Cooler is as redundant as Greg the Gregor or Cool the Cooler. Jacoby Cat, none of that is true. Beginning August 29th. Beginning August 29th, the world is going to change completely. There's going to be Greg the Gold earthquake. And if there's anybody who can create an earthquake, if there's any human that can create an earthquake, it's the fat guy from Minnesota. Starting August 29th. I've already broken down the tapes. I'm already looking at the games. I'm looking at the spreads. Lock, 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 lock. And then all the Greg Cooler jokes are going to go away. Just like the Iowa Hawkeyes are going to get beat this year by my beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers. Thank you so much for the $5 holler, Jacoby Cat. Very much appreciated, sir. We've got Kenneth, the Pirate, Gator, Maynard, and we are doing the East Carolina Pirates Spotlight today. And I'm going to tell you something. East Carolina has an advantage in one particular part of the roster, in my opinion, over the G6 top threats to get the G6 playoff spot over the teams that we've already done in the spotlight. East Carolina's got something going on here. I'm not going to spill the beans quite yet. And Kenneth Mohr let me know how wrong I got it once again when we go over the spotlight of the East Carolina Pirates. Kenneth Mohr, we've got a beautiful super chat. Kenneth Mohr, $5 holla. Everyone thought the ACC's gore was ironclad. We have precedent. The Big 12 could be challenged successfully as well. That is true. Except for, well, again, it has to do with motivation, right? Florida State and Clemson had great motivation. Two incredible football programs that come out of the gate behind every single year because of the money advantage from the media contracts that the Big Ten and the SEC top teams have over Clemson and Florida State. So Clemson and Florida State had great motivation to take it to the courts. It was a high-risk maneuver. It did cost them. I don't know if any Big 12 schools would have that level of motivation to take it to the courts, except for a man like Cody Campbell, who I now consider a complete wild card. There might be this opportunity for Cody Campbell just to go to the Big 12 and say, forget about the courts. What do you want? How much money is it going to take for us to get out of here? And we're going to join the ACC. And that conference, well, they're not going to tell the Big 12 this, but if Cody Campbell actually does this, and we are in the speculation zone, again, there is no steam on this other than the article we are going to go through today that was published today. If Cody Campbell actually got crazy and did this, I think his motivation would not just be, okay, Red Raiders go play in the ACC. Okay, Red Raiders play on the ACC network. Okay, the Red Raiders play against some very fine institutions, East Coast. We're still going to play some schools in the Midwest out on the coast. I think Cody Campbell, one of his motivations would be, okay, Big 12 screwed the Texas Tech Red Raiders. The Big 10 and the SEC have not been friendly to us. We are going to make sure we're going to do everything we can here in Red Raider Nation to make sure that the battle between the ACC and the Big 12, that the ACC comes out on top. I think, again, I'm playing psychiatrist here at Peek Around the Corner. But if Cody Campbell goes to the ACC, he knows that some schools are going to get poached out of the ACC. But if he brings a couple of friends along, plus the couple of friends, potential future friends in the ACC that's going to remain, that might become the third super conference over the Big 12. I think that would be part of the motivation if Cody Campbell did it. Because if Cody Campbell does this, he's got to get to a level of being ticked off, that is even above what he's at right now. But these guys who got that money, who's got that power, that wants that control, that believes they're being rebuffed by the Big 12, they believe that they're a victim of the Big 12. Possibly, maybe, Cody Campbell leads the Red Raiders to court against the Big 12. Or possibly, maybe, he just says, I'm going to write a check. We're getting the hell out of here. Enjoy the money. Forget about the Memphis FedEx deal. We will give you that deal straight hard cash, homie. Straight hard cash, homie. But we're out of here. And good luck to you. Thank you, Kenneth Maynard. Thank you for the $5 holler. Very much appreciated, sir. Greg has gone out the deep end. Again, let me remind everybody. Speculation zone. I have not heard anything about this at all, except for the article that came out just a little while ago. And that was a speculation article. So Greg is not saying this is going to happen. Greg is not saying this is the chalk. I don't believe in any of that, except for we are in the speculation zone. And this is a beautiful Saturday. And there was a beautiful article written. We're going to read it. After I read the article that came out today, I think a lot of you would probably say, okay, now I understand why Greg is bringing it up today. All right. Jay Chapman, who leaves first, Texas Tech or Yormark? Tumasta, Texas Tech and BYU. Again, let's speculate on that. If the Red Raiders said, this is ridiculous, we're out of here, and they bring BYU with them, they bring Oklahoma State with them, they bring West Virginia, suddenly Texas Tech will sever ties with the Big 12. Morris actually believes this could happen. This is a great question. Does Stanford, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech want to be associated with Cody Campbell Community College? Not a chance. Well, there has been some agreement with Notre Dame and Cody Campbell. They are aligned in some of this stuff. And Notre Dame wants to do everything they possibly can to keep the ACC upright after they get poached. I think now that we're down in the rabbit hole, now that we've gone all the way into the rabbit hole, and we're only going to go deeper during this live show, the Notre Dame aspect to this is quite fascinating. Notre Dame does not want the ACC to get poached. They're not going to be able to stop that. To get poached and wither. Because if they wither, that it is gonna hurt Notre Dame's ability to maintain football independence severely. Notre Dame wanted California, Stanford, and SMU. They wanted that proactive backfield before the poaching happens. Maybe Notre Dame would be for another proactive backfield. Come on. Notre Dame, BYU, they've scheduled a football game this year. They've scheduled a football game next year. There's been reports that Notre Dame and BYU are going to schedule more games against each other in more sports. There's great interest between BYU and Notre Dame. I ain't saying. But I'm saying, if we're going to go in the speculation zone, and all of this is speculation, I've heard no steam on this, but what would be Notre Dame's position? Cody Campbell's becoming a movie villain. Andrew Watt, I'm not buying it. I am not buying it for a moment. And Notre Dame is going to do everything in their power to keep that cupcake. The Golden Bear says if Texas Tech went to the ACC, I think it would be 2036 after a lot of ACC schools leave. The question is, will Utah jump as well? That's a great question. Now, again, would Utah and Kansas be interested? Or would they hold out for a possible Big Ten invite? If Texas Tech, if Cody Campbell did call the ACC, I believe it would be in conjunction with a couple of potential Big 12 big brands or one of their bigger ones to go with them to solidify the ACC versus the Big 12 after the ACC gets poached. Utah would be somebody that the Red Raiders would want, but I don't know if they could get them on board. Kansas would be something that the Red Raiders would want, but I don't think they would be able to get them on board. I don't know if they would get anybody on board. But if they could, I'm throwing out Oklahoma State and BYU and West Virginia. Or possibly, let me throw out speculation on top of speculation now that we're in the speculation zone. Let's say Cody Campbell's getting ready to call Jim Phillips. And he's like, maybe Oklahoma State would not be interested. They're loyal, just like MBM, who represents Oklahoma State Cowboy Nation. Maybe they're not maybe BYU would not be interested. But I wonder if those two Arizona schools would want to come with us. Colorado probably would not be interested. But those two Arizona schools, they did not want to leave Stanford and California. Those presidents did not want to go to the Big 12, but they had to. Maybe, just maybe, a Texas Tech Red Raiders and Arizona State trio would satisfy the ACC presidents. You're bringing on two AAU universities. Now you've got a West Coast of Stanford, California, Arizona State. In fact, Stanford and California might even support it. That's another one to throw out there. A Texas Tech, Arizona State trio. Let's get to this article because I got to believe there are people that will turn on this program and they're saying, what the hell is the fat guy from Minnesota talking about? Again, we are only in the speculation zone. That's it. Speculation zone. We're going to go through this article now. And then I think people are going to understand why we have brought this up today. Okay? Kenneth Maynard, thank you so much for your generosity. $5 holla. It's easier for West Virginia to just join the ACC than to have Louisville, Pitt, Syracuse pay out collective exit fee money from the top brands. Thank you for the $5 holla, Kenneth Maynard. Again, I've been asked to speculate at least 100 times on this show for the last 3 years. Who's going to have the advantage after the ACC gets poached by the Big Ten and SEC? Who's going to have the advantage between the Big 12 and the ACC? And I keep throwing my hands up and saying, I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't know who's going to get poached from the ACC. I don't know. I mean, we've done a lot of, we know there's a lot of activity going on. We put out our predictions. We got a lot of people talking to us. We've given you the information. But we don't know exactly how big the scoops are going to be. So that's one thing we don't know. The other thing is we don't know how the ACC is going to distribute their exit fee money to the rest of the conference. That's going to be another major point of how easy or difficult it's going to be for the Big 12 to poach the ACC, or how easy or difficult it is going to be the ACC to poach the Big 12. Maybe they take that exit money and they say, we're going to go ahead, we're not going to distribute it among our members, we're going to go ahead and take the biggest brands of the Big 12. We don't know. But what if the Red Raiders, what if Cody Campbell flips the table and says, why wait? We are the thumb on the scale here. Right now, Red Raiders is the dog, is the big dog in the Big 12. What if we just put our thumbs on the scale and go over to the ACC right now? What if we take a couple of the bigger brands of the Big 12 right now? What if we take an Oklahoma State and a BYU? Or what if we do the two Arizona schools? Let's go to the article. Thank you for the $5 holler, Kenneth Maynard. I very much appreciate it. If the Red Raiders, if Cody believes that no longer does the Big 12 have the advantage over the ACC, even after what is going to happen to the ACC, Let's go to the article. I want to thank everybody for joining us again. All we're doing is we're in the speculation zone. We're not reporting this. We do not have any information. We do not have any steam. But I thought it was the correct day to talk about it because, well, we got an article here from Jim Williams. Big 12 versus the Texas Tech Red Raiders. The Sorsby saga that could trigger realignment drama, how the Big 12 Texas Tech conflict is fueling ACC exit rumors. Now, again, I have not heard of any of this steam, but we're going to read Jim Williams' article here. The friction between the Big 12 and Texas Tech has evolved from scheduling disputes into a legal cultural showdown. Again, if you go over everything in the last year, all the disputes between the Big 12 and Texas Tech, think about it for a moment. Then we'll get back to the article. Think about it for a moment. I mean, the Friday night scheduling game, Red Raiders in Houston. All that whole kerfuffle that Cody Campbell threw upon everybody. Of course, the Brendan Sorsby situation. Just now, Cody Campbell's telling all the institutions they got to elevate themselves or we're going to have problems with those institutions. All the times that Cody Campbell has gone after Brett Yormark by name. And now this Monster Energy deal that is not going over well. That is just in the last year. What's going to happen this year? Back to the article. The friction between the Big 12 and Texas Tech has evolved from scheduling disputes into a legal cultural showdown. That tension is now fueling speculation that a Red Raiders could eventually consider leaving the conference. The Big 12 filed a federal lawsuit against Texas Tech over the Brendan Sorsby gambling case. And Texas state officials warned the league about potential liability if it tried to sanction Texas Tech or place Sorsby under a state court injunction. That combination has made the relationship openly adversarial even after Sorsby left for professional football. The Sorsby saga created a legal and cultural split. The core of the tension lies in how Texas Tech handled the NCAA ineligibility ruling against quarterback Brendan Sorsby, who was penalized for wagering on college sports. a Texas judge issued a temporary injunction allowing Sorsby to play, which triggered backlash from the rest of the Big 12, with multiple athletic directors saying they would not schedule Texas Tech if he participated. The league then sued Texas Tech, the Texas Attorney General, and several universities' officials in federal court, seeking a declaratory judgment that could allow the conference to sanction Texas Tech and recover attorney fees. The lawsuit did not automatically disappear. The lawsuit did not automatically disappear when Sorsby eventually left for professional football. Instead, it became a symbol of a deeper struggle over power, enforcement, and money inside the Big 12. For Texas Tech, the league is now seen as an institution that would rather sue a member school than negotiate. For the rest of the Big 12, Texas Tech is viewed as a school that uses wealth and legal pressure to gain competitive advantages. That kind of mutual distrust makes long-term stability harder, especially when conference brands and media rights deals are under constant pressure. Cody Campbell and the Big 12 upgrade narrative. Cody Campbell, Texas Tech mega donor and chairman of the Board of Regents, have been driving force behind the Red Raiders' aggressive spending in the transfer portal and NIL environment. He has also been vocal about wanting the rest of the Big 12 to step up its investment in football and elevate the conference national brand. In earlier years, Campbell's public stance was generally pro-Big 12, emphasizing that Texas Tech could win and thrive within the current structure. Very good point by Jim Williams. There has been a difference in how Cody Campbell communicates about the Big 12. It used to be a whole lot more positive. Now it's gone, well, let's just say it has turned. Now that the tone has shifted. Social media posts and sports commentary in June of 2026 began framing the Texas Tech to ACC speculation as growing, with headlines saying that Campbell's fires back at the Big 12 amid that speculation. Whether Campbell is actively negotiating an ACC move or simply signaling that the Red Raiders are not afraid to explore options, the message is clear. Texas Tech is not willing to accept a status quo that feels hostile or legally risky. Now again, I just want to make this clear. College football peek around the corner. We have not heard anything about Campbell signaling that the Red Raiders are possibly going to explore options. This is a speculation zone live show based on this article, and let's be honest. Cody Campbell, the Big 12, Texas Tech relationship is not what it is today that it was last year. Okay? We don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know what Cody Campbell's going to say next. Right? Back to the article. Why the ACC is a long shot destination for Texas Tech. And I agree. But they could be a dominant force. If Texas Tech were to leave the Big 12, the ACC is the most logical destination for several practical reasons. The league has room for expansion, especially if some of the current members exit for other conferences in a broader realignment wave. The ACC also offers a different media rights structure through ESPN, which is true, which could provide Texas Tech with more stable long-term revenue and a higher national profile. The ACC also includes Texas-adjacent schools and has been a frequent target in realignment discussions, making it a natural fit for a school that wants to remain competitive while distancing itself from Big 12 partners. In other words, if the relationship got really, really, really bad, and the Red Raiders, Texas Tech, Cody Campbell, he could do a lot of damage to the Big 12. It could be their own Lubbock quick strike. Back to the article. Moving to the ACC would remove Texas Tech from the immediate frictions with the Big 12 peers and ongoing legal battle, while still keeping the school in Division I football conference with a strong media footprint. The real timeline: speculation versus reality. As of July 2026, there is no confirmed plan for Cody Campbell to negotiate an ACC move for Texas Tech actively. What exists is rising speculation and a media narrative that positions the ACC as a plausible escape route if the tensions worsen. So again, even Jim Williams say this is speculation, rise in speculation. If the tension worsens, if things get worse between Cody Campbell and Brett Yormark, again, they went and got themselves a steak at a restaurant. They're trying to mend the pact. They're trying to get back together again. Back to the article. Campbell stated priorities: still focus on strengthening the Big 12 and reforming college sports nationally. So any ACC push would likely be a contingency plan rather than an openly declared mission. Still, the combination of a federal lawsuit, public clashes at Big 12 Media Days, and the perception that Texas Tech is a villain in the conference has created a more hostile environment than many schools want to endure for years. In a landscape where conference lineups are already shifting, the idea that Texas Tech could eventually bolt for the ACC is now a credible storyline, not just a rumor. What this means for college football realignment. The Big 12 Texas Tech conflict is a microcosm of the larger instability in college sports. When a school has a powerful booster willing to spend aggressively and a conference willing to sue that school, the relationship becomes fragile. The fragility accelerates realignment talk. Relationships matter because schools and boosters start asking whether their long-term interests are better served outside of their current conference. For the Big 12, losing Texas Tech would be a major blow, both financially and culturally. For the ACC, acquiring a program with Texas Tech spending power and Campbell's influence could transform the league's competitive and economic profile. And for college football fans, the tension between the Big 12 and Texas Tech could be a key factor in the next major realignment wave. Final thoughts on the Texas Tech ACC possibility. The tension between the Big 12 and Texas Tech is real, deep, and legally complicated. Whether that tension drives the Red Raiders to the ACC will depend on how the lawsuits evolves, how other schools respond, and whether Campbell decides to move from speculation to action. But the story is already shaping up as one of the most important realignment narratives of 2026. So again, let's not get it twisted. If you look at our title screen, this is complete speculation zone. We at Peek Around the Corner have not heard any steam that Cody Campbell is looking to negotiate with the ACC. We're bringing it up as a discussion here on a live show July 11th on a Saturday. This is the right time to do it. Do you believe, PATC Einsteins, do you believe that Cody Campbell, that the relationship could get so bad that Cody Campbell would pick up the phone and give Jim Phillips a call? The Lubbock quick strike. The Lubbock quick strike. And if Cody Campbell did that, if all that happened, if tensions got worse, if the relationship got worse, if Cody Campbell was motivated enough to spend the money to get the Red Raiders out because they would have to spend a lot of money to get out of the Big 12 gore, would they bring somebody with them? And who would they bring with them? The Lubbock quick strike is not in play. I have not heard of it. But I read this article and I started pondering the possibilities because Cody Campbell is a complete wild card. That relationship between him and Brett Yormark, one of them is going to have to go. So, let me know what you think. We're going to open up the phone lines, but we first got to do a spotlight on the East Carolina Pirates. And then we're going to open up the phone lines. I do want to thank even Elvin Gully. Thank you for becoming a member to Early Peak Cloak and Dagger. I appreciate it so very much. Thank you. You are officially knighted. Cloak and Dagger, welcome to the family. Mr. Gully, welcome to the family. I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Let me see here if we got Christopher Hooter. Super chat. $5 holler. Beautiful, Mr. Purple and Gold. Then we're going to do the spotlight on East Carolina, and then we're going to circle back to your phone calls. Just, even if the top one half of the ACC leaves, a Pac-12 backfield, Texas Tech, etc., early or late, makes it sexy enough for ACC 2.40 for Notre Dame to remain independent. Yeah, I'm buying. So Christopher Hooter believes that this pure speculation could turn into something. Again, in my opinion, this would start with Cody Campbell and his emotional outburst saying, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here, and let's put our thumb on the scale of this battle between the ACC and the Big 12, this future battle that's going to happen. There's going to be a future battle between the Big 12 and the ACC. If Cody Campbell gets so upset, if they feel like they're the victim, they're being treated unfairly, them and a couple other Big 12 schools, they might feel that this is their chance to join the ACC, still be the superior conference even if they get poached, and they will get poached, have that ESPN backing, have that ACC network, and have some sort of relationship with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish? Let me know what you think. We're just speculating. We are just speculating. Let me know. What if the next TV deal is trash, though? I think any team would make that jump. What if the Big 12's next media deal isn't any good? There's a lot to ponder here. Again, I don't know who's going to have the advantage between the Big 12 and the ACC. But if Cody Campbell really wanted to, he could try to make sure that one conference had the advantage over the other. If he got that salty. Big 12 is toast. ACC in talks already with Texas Tech. I have not heard of that, J.K. Marshall. Again, but people are free to put down information as they've heard it or they believe to be true. I have not heard any of that. I do want to thank Bruce Harris, Jacoba Cat, Eva Badger, Kenneth Maynor, Evan Gully, and Christopher Hooter thus far for your super chats. Very much appreciate it. Big 12 Gore's got a ways to go. That is one big hurdle for the Red Raiders to do anything about their possible anger right now. Let me ask you this. Why would anybody feel comfortable following Cody? That's a great question, and I do not have an answer. Stormy Cyclone. Great question. Don't have any answers. Don Scruggs, ECU. Let's do it. We'll get back to your super chats. We'll get to your phone calls. But right now, we've got something very important to do. East Carolina, part of our G6 Spotlight series. I believe that East Carolina has a shot to be the G6 representative in the playoffs, just like Boise State, UNLV, Memphis, and the other G6 teams that are listed on the Spotlight calendar. And there is one major reason why I believe that. We're going to get to it here in a moment. East Carolina Pirates, PATC Spotlight. Let's go. The quarterback, Wake Forest, and he had a little bit of a coffee stop at Texas Tech, Mitch Griffiths. Career stats. He's played 30 games, parts of 30 games, 2,314 yards passing, 61.2 completion percentage, 17 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 139.6 quarterback rating. He had one pretty good year for Wake Forest. There is a quarterback battle going on. We'll get to the other quarterback in a moment. But as I did the homework on East Carolina, as we did a deep dive on the Pirates, there was a lot of steam coming out of what they're calling their third scrimmage, Mitch Griffiths had a big time scrimmage result. He was throwing darts. It sounds like Mitch Griffiths has the advantage in the quarterback battle. He's got the most experience in this quarterback battle. It sounds like he has got the advantage. He had a wonderful spring, an absolute wonderful spring. But there is another quarterback that is in camp for the East Carolina Pirates. and that is highly regarded high school talent 3-4 years ago, Emory Williams. He went to Miami. He barely played parts of 12 games, 813 yards passing, 62.9 completion percentage, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But again, look who Emory Williams was competing against at Miami. The best of the best transfer quarterbacks. I mean, my goodness. So Emory Williams, big time high school talent. Now he gets his opportunity. Now he absolutely gets his opportunity. But I believe, and Kenneth Mohr and other people that can tell me that I'm wrong, but I think Mitch Griffiths has the advantage over Emory Williams. But most likely we're going to see both quarterbacks during the season. It's not the quarterback position that has me excited about East Carolina. Although both of these quarterbacks are better than a lot, have a potential that is better than a lot of G6 schools. It's their possibilities at the skill positions. Running back Ashton Gray. Now don't get this MBM, Kenneth Mohr. Don't get this. I'm just going to put this out there. Don't take this too. I don't know. I'm just going to say it. East Carolina Pirates. They're kind of like the younger brother of the Oklahoma State Cowboys this year. I'm very excited about Oklahoma State. Eric Morris, Drew Messmaker, Caleb Hawkins, the great wide receiver that got. But East Carolina did the same thing. They brought over the offensive coordinator of North Texas. They brought over the offensive coordinator. Blake Harrell hired the offensive coordinator. And they got some real good talent from North Texas. Ashton Gray. Now again, he wasn't gonna get the ball. He wasn't gonna get the ball a bunch last year. They had Caleb Hawkins, who's now with Oklahoma State. But when he did get the ball, 377 yards rushing, 6.5 average per rush, 5 rushing touchdowns. And again, it's not just him. East Carolina Pirates have been prepping TJ Engelman. He had over 300 yards last year. He had a 5.2 average per rush. So Ashton Gray, TJ Engelman, again, look like they've got something going on in the running back position, right? Same thing at the wide receiver position. I'm gonna highlight Landon Sides. Now there should be somebody else that I'm highlighting. We're gonna get to East Carolina's wide receiver number 1, but I want to make sure there is a certain Landon Sides. Again, coming from North Texas. He wasn't North Texas wide receiver number 1. That dude went to Oklahoma State. But Landon Sides had a very productive year last year. He's very good. I watched this tape. 34 receptions, 449 yards receiving, 13.2 average, 1 receiving touchdown. And now he followed the offensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator wanted Landon Sides to come with him. He wanted Ashton Gray to come with him. Does anybody understand the storyline that I'm putting out here? East Carolina scooped up a lot of offensive talent. At the same time, East Carolina had a big-time player coming back. Wide receiver Brock Spalding. Spalding, again, there's a bunch of tape out there that has Mitch Griffiths passing it to Brock Spalding during the scrimmages. They've already locked in as a great combination. Brock Spalding had 42 catches, 554 yards, 13.2 average per reception. So they got more than one. They've got a lot of production coming back, good production coming back. And then I think they've landed potentially one of the best transfer portal classes on the offensive side of the ball in G6. And then you look at, now they did lose a lot on the defensive side of the ball. DJ Johnson Jr., middle linebacker, 60 combination tackles, 5 tackle for losses, 0.5 sacks. If you know East Carolina and their defense, last year and probably this year, they go after the quarterback, they go after the quarterback, they go after the quarterback. But they got a bunch of new pieces, but they're probably going to maintain, they go after the quarterback. Big time. East Carolina football schedule. They begin the season at Alabama. Now that's a tough one. So September 5th, Alabama on the road, ABC. And then they're on the road, Old Dominion, who I think is extremely overrated this year. They play at UAB. I have no hope for UAB this year. They play at Memphis. Again, I would take East Carolina. Look, that schedule. Take a look at that schedule. Take a look at that schedule. East Carolina is going to win a lot of games. They went, I believe they went 6-2 in conference play. They went 9-4 overall. I think they finished with a better record this year. That schedule, they're going to score points. I think East Carolina, in my mind, is a major threat to be the G6 representative in the playoffs. I've got them higher right now than James Madison, then Memphis, and Boise State. Now, I'm not saying that East Carolina would beat Boise State straight up, but I have I don't think Boise State's going to get there. I don't think they're going to have a good enough resume. I think they're going to lose their tougher games. Boise State's got a much tougher schedule. East Carolina and UNLV, in my opinion, are the top 2 G6 schools that we have done under the spotlight so far. I'm impressed by the coaching of Blake Harrell. I'm impressed by I think they've got a lot of offensive juice. Now, you can go ahead and take a read. They did lose a bunch of offensive linemen, but they were able to get some high-quality dudes on the offensive line in the portal. We don't have time to go through that. I will go through that if I pick East Carolina as the G6 representative. I think they got a shot. I think they got a real shot. That schedule, again, if they can get out of that Alabama game, and be respectable in that game. To put up a good fight. To come out of that not all torn up. I think they're going to go on a big run. I think they're going to win a lot of games. They're going better than 9-4. That is a Greg the Gold guarantee. East Carolina going better than 9-4. Let me know how wrong I got it once again in the chat room with your phone calls. We are going to open up the phone lines here in a moment. Again, for those who've just joined us, speculation zone, speculation zone, speculation zone. I see a lot of arguments in the chat room. I'm keeping an eye on all of you. Relax, calm down, relax. We're just speculating. We're speculating on an article that came out today. Jim Williams, you don't have to agree with any of it. I don't even know if I agree with much of it. But it's out there. The heat, what is going on between Texas Tech and the Big 12, it could possibly open a door again. Relationships matter in realignment. That's one of the rules of realignment. We all remember that. Relationships matter. Relationship is pretty bad between the Red Raiders and the ACC. Again, the Big 12 gore is a huge hurdle for the Red Raiders to even pick up the phone to call Jim Phillips. The instability of the ACC, knowing everyone, Cody Campbell has his perception. That's why he's trying to get the Cody Cruz bill passed. He has his perception that the ACC is probably going to get poached. But I do want to end my rambling on in the speculation zone before we get to your phone calls. I do want to say this. There are two reasons why we did the speculation zone today. Because I haven't heard any of the steam out there. I don't think it's out there. I haven't heard it. But Jim Williams put out a pretty good article. Thought-provoking article. And number two is, there is this, I have a belief that is 90% speculation and 10% something else. A mix of a bunch of other stuff. So what I'm about to say is 90% speculation. But I do have this belief that when it happens, how it happens, how deep it happens, when the ACC loses a couple of their top brands to the Big Ten and to the SEC, I do believe, I really believe this, that there is going to be this natural economic consolidation forces that are going to push for a third conference to be as viable, valuable, competitive as possible. I just think it's going to happen. And it could go so many different ways. One of the two conferences could hold the power, right? To hold the power over the other. Or there could be, as the years go on, a different conference forms altogether. It could happen early. It could happen late. It could happen after 2036. Somehow that's going to get triggered because the economic forces are going to demand it. They're going to put the pressure on it. I remember reading an article about 4 or 5 months ago, and it had to do with the Louisville athletic director. And he said something, and at the time I said, I thought it was very important what he said, very poignant. The Louisville athletic director said, and I'm paraphrasing, that we got to do everything we can not to be left behind. And he wasn't talking Super League. I think what he meant was, yeah, you know, we're not going to get picked up by the SEC. We're not going to get picked up by the Big Ten. But Louisville, we are so valuable, and we want to be in that next whatever that is. And I think there's a lot of emerging universities, a lot of schools that are priming the pump, not just to get to the P2, but to make sure they land in the best position possible. And I think a lot of them are thinking of this P3, this third one. Not at the same level as the P2, but the third one. To make sure they land in the most powerful one after the two. And I think some G6 schools are looking to be in that third one. I think the Big 12 and the ACC schools, of course, had the advantage to be in that third one. I think the media partners, I think the media companies are going to demand it. Not right away, not vocally, not happening right away, but they're going to eventually form it. That is my strong belief. 90% speculation, 10% other stuff. I really think that's what's going to happen. So when I think of this, and that's my other reason why I felt comfortable going in the speculation zone, even though I'm going to get dragged over the coals, even though people are going to be reporting. Greg is saying that there's stuff out there between Texas Tech and ACC, and of course I haven't said that. I haven't heard any of that. But at some point, something is going to trigger this. It is highly doubtful that the triggering point is from Cody Campbell in 2026 or 2027. But again, Cody Campbell's a wild card. And Cody Campbell wants control. Cody Campbell, love him, hate him, or somewhere in between, he wants to have control of the situation. So this wild scenario, it's a long shot, that Cody Campbell would pick up the phone and call Jim Phillips and dictate on who's going to win the war, the future war, between the Big 12 and the ACC. If Cody Campbell gets so ticked off, so pissed off at the ACC, at the Big 12, you can kind of see it happening, right? You can kind of see it happening. So that's why we went in the speculation zone. And if Cody Campbell did that, he could go a long ways in determining what happens. He can't control the Big Ten. I don't think he's going to be successful. I don't think Cody Campbell is going to be successful in controlling the Big Ten. I don't think Cody Campbell is going to be successful in controlling the SEC. But he might be very impactful in controlling, in creating that third conference. And this could be the way he does it. The Lubbock quick strike. We shall see. All speculation zone only. Everybody relax. Everybody relax. We've got a $5 holla. Kenneth, the Pirate Gator Maynard. If ECU can keep Blake Harrell, it will be huge. He will be desired by the P4 programs, back-to-back bowl wins over the ACC. Absolutely. I think 14-5 so far. Very successful. I think the Pirates are going to be that schedule, man. They just got to get through that Alabama okay. They just got to get through that Alabama game okay. And then people are going to forget about East Carolina. And then they're going to be sitting there with a 6-1 record. Thank you for the $5 holler, Kenneth Maynard. I appreciate it. Kenneth Maynard, Harold would be better at UNC than Bill Belichick. Very important year for Bill Belichick. No question about it. Thank you, Kenneth Maynard. Thank you for your generosity and your support once again. I appreciate it so very much. Let me know, Kenneth Maynard, what I got wrong in that spotlight of the East Carolina Pirates. Let me know how wrong I got it. The notorious Sun Devil agrees with Kenneth Maynard. Harold feels like a Belichick replacement. The ACC would be better off with Oregon State and Washington State than Texas Tech. Very interesting. Utah, BYU to the ACC. Well, that we speculated on that. If this crazy scenario would ever start happening, the Red Raiders would probably want to bring somebody with them. Could that be a BYU? Could that be a BYU Oklahoma State? Could that be the Red Raiders in Arizona and Arizona State? What would you got to get the votes from the ACC presidents. You got to get support from ESPN. I mean, if the ACC were smart, they would be taking BYU. Utah, I don't know if Utah would do it. Depending on if Utah got the word from the Big Ten either way. Bill is fixing to go 12-0. Preston from Greensboro, North Carolina. Preston believes. He absolutely believes. Let's go to your phone calls. Phone line is open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Phone lines are open.
From
Tristan Fives.
Tristan 5. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it.
To send a voicemail, press 2.
Tristan 5, thanks for calling. The floor is yours.
Hey, thanks, Greg. I appreciate you taking my call.
You got it, buddy.
Listen, if we're talking about, and this is obviously not a prediction, you already said it.
Yeah,
it's just
speculation.
Kind of the idea, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but you know, the ACC still has their network, and they're still in bed with ESPN.
Yep.
And I think that the Four Corner area looks very interesting. Like there could be legitimate interest in any of the Four Corner schools.
Mm-hmm.
Just sort of as a new territory almost, you know, for the ACC. But Greg, you know, the cornerstone territory. There are two states are the cornerstone for what ESPN wants the most, and that is the state of Texas, and the state of Florida. And I would lean towards, if Texas Tech did somehow make a move one day, I think a candidate could be TCU or Central Florida to go into the ACC. Now, I think it's almost a foregone conclusion that if Florida State leaves, South Florida is going to take their place. Right? So I'm saying this in that context.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But they care the most, Greg, about the state of Florida and the state of Texas. And, there's a lot of candidates if you're looking at it through that lens. I think the Four Corners are very interesting and very appealing. And then the schools in Texas and then the schools in Florida, I think that's what you'd end up looking at as candidates for the ACC. What do you think?
Yeah, it's all viable. It's all again, we're just speculating here.
Yeah.
This was more, this speculation zone, which we don't do very often, but because of that article, there, everything he said, is as viable as anything I've said. But this one is based upon the motivations of Cody Campbell, right?
Right.
It's going to have to take, if something would happen within the next year or so, it would have to take a very highly motivated person who just wants to stick it to the Big 12 and who's got the money and power. So I think Texas Tech would have to take the lead for any of this to truly start to happen, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's definitely been burning bridges there.
Now, again, my question to you, Tristan, let's say we're just speculating, we're just talking, that Cody Campbell gives Jim Phillips a phone call. How does Jim Phillips react?
Well, so follow-up question to is this pre-Exodus or post-Exodus? Is this after a bunch of schools in the ACC go into the P2?
Before.
I would say we'll give you a call back in about a year or two, and we're interested.
The problem. Yeah, the question about afterwards. Yes, of course, Jim Phillips would pick it up after.
Yeah.
But then it might be too late.
Well, yeah, but they can't. Okay, so let me say this. I think he would say, hey, listen, let me give you a call back, and then he'd put in a call to ESPN and say, what do you want me to do with this? Because the ACC would be interested in Texas Tech. Listen, Greg, having SMU in the ACC is terrific for that conference.
Yep.
And, Greg, as a football fan who remembers when SMU had Eric Dickerson, I think it's terrific that their program is sort of regaining strength and trying to get back to being a real program again. And, TCU would be a great travel. The ACC is going to survive as a conference, Greg. The more we have these, I know this is just an article, it's not predictions, but ESPN's got a lot invested in this conference. They don't want it to go away.
Yep.
And, and there's so many, part of me is sort of egalitarian. I don't want anyone to be left behind. Honestly, I want all these schools to be able to find their way in. But yeah, I think you have to express interest. And so his answer should be, hey, listen, let me put in a call. We're interested, and we'll get some more details about what we can do. And that's, I think, the best you could tell them. But I guarantee you, Greg, if they're going to lose some schools, if the ACC is going to lose some schools, we already saw a hint of, look at what they did when the Pac fell apart. They went and got a school in Texas. They went and got 2 schools in California.
Yeah.
The ACC, Greg, is being strategic. I know it's a conference in trouble, but man, look at the states they got into. And they're going to want to get more like that. I think the Four Corners are for real a possibility if things go a certain way. That's a growing area of the country. That's a very important area of the country.
Let me ask you another question. What if Cody Campbell, before he calls the commissioner, Jim Phillips, let's say Cody Campbell calls Pete Bavacqua and says, look, we're looking at the possibility of giving ACC a phone call. The ACC would have to be interested in expanding to the 18th school or 19th or 20th. Would you support expansion like you did when Notre Dame supported SMU, California, Stanford? Let's say Cody Campbell gave Pete Bavacqua that phone call. What do you think Pete Bavacqua would say?
I think he would be potentially interested in it. But Greg, let me say this. This all gets very complicated. It depends on who they can keep behind in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
Like if all the schools that have options, I think there was like the Magnificent Seven from a few years ago. Man, if all those schools leave, I think Notre Dame's got to go. But listen, if a couple of those schools stay back and they start backfilling with high quality schools, and Notre Dame gets a shot at keeping their independence, they might choose to just stay where they are.
Mm-hmm.
They could. Let's say that Miami says, hey, we're not going to go anywhere. We're doing good in the ACC. We got it. We're on a roll. Let's just stay where we are. And, then Florida State leaves and they backfill with South Florida. And, and then the ACC is looking at other tech, like Texas Tech or Four Corners. Hey, Greg, listen, there's a chance that Notre Dame might look at that and say, man, we can probably make that our home if we want to keep going in the way being, independent. They could potentially make that work, I think. I mean, they'd have to have the freedom to still schedule, Big Ten and SEC schools,
mm-hmm.
which they would, though. They'd still be able to get those big-time matchups. So this is a real interesting idea. And I'll be honest with you, Greg, this is something that I've not thought about.
I haven't thought about it either. Or if I did, I would dismiss it immediately. And I haven't heard it. No one has ever said anything to me about it. But I read this article. At first I was like, interesting. But then I started thinking about Cody Campbell. And, he's a highly motivated... He could be the one that says, okay, screw this. We are gonna determine what happens next. Because we're not getting that in the Congress. SEC and the Big Ten are pissing us off. Big 12 is, let's just put our thumbs on the scale. Let's do the Lubbock quick strike. And it becomes more interesting the more you think about it. But no complete speculation, of course. But go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Well, like I said, now the Four Corner schools, Greg, any of the Four Corner schools that are AAU, and there's a few of them, are going to probably say, look, we'd rather just take our chances getting into the Big Ten. That's how I would. If I was Arizona or Arizona State, that's how I would feel about it. And I know that Utah obviously prefers the Big Ten.
That is. I think there. Yes, I think I would agree with you on that. Yes.
Right, and so if that's really the case, then they might look at this situation and say, no, we're not interested in going to the ACC. We think we're on a road to get to the big. But then if you take that off the table, then you still come back to this idea, what would ESPN support? Greg, they would support schools in Texas and schools in Florida. And so I think the ACC would be interested in a TCU, in terms of a pair, a TCU or Central Florida, and a long shot maybe, but perhaps a Tulane, in the region, next door to Texas, those types of schools. Because, I don't know. That seems to be their strategy, is to just dominate, from Texas to Florida and then, up the coast and over to Missouri or Kansas or wherever. But that's how I think they would play it, if I had to guess today.
Interesting. I appreciate the phone call, Tristan.
Yeah. Hey, you're doing a great job, Greg, and you keep up the good work. I'll talk to you later.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words.
All right. Bye-bye.
Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger. If it was just about an easier path, we would all stay. It's not, though. Absolutely correct.
From
Mohr Simmons.
Mohr Simmons, can you hold on for just one moment, please?
Yes.
I appreciate it. Mama Duck is absolutely correct. If it was just about an easier path, we would all stay. It's not, though. It's not about easier path. It's if it was about just having an easier path, Texas and Oklahoma would have stayed in the Southeastern Conference. If it was just about an easier path, USC would have stayed in the Pac-12. If it was just about an easier path, Oregon would have stayed in a depleted Pac-12. But no one wants to stay in a depleted conference. They want to go to the highest ground as possible for economic exposure, marketing, branding, all those things that come with the front porch of your university, your athletic department. So Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger is absolutely correct. Mohr Simmons, the floor is yours. Thanks for calling, sir.
Yes. Well, Greg, okay, I know this is speculation, but like I had posted, earlier in the chat, is that this is very, very much doable on many fronts. I mean, you can look at Arizona schools, and you could look at 2 schools from Arizona, 2 from Texas, 2 from Florida. And when I'm talking about 2 schools from Florida, you bring UCF over, bring University of South Florida over. That gives you Florida market. That actually give you Tampa and Orlando market. So then you look at Texas, you look at Arizona. But even if you don't get the Arizona schools, it's still too many ways that the ACC can bring schools in. I mean, West Virginia been looking at for years to get over to the ACC, and I think they would jump at any opportunity to get over to the ACC. It helps them with travel. Now you're looking at they with Pitt, you with Louisville, you bring Memphis in with that. I mean, it's so many avenues. You still bring in East Carolina. You still can bring in East Carolina. It's so many avenues that the ACC, and also keep in mind, the ACC gonna still have the ACC network. Big 12 don't have a net.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's so many ways that ACC, and for me, I would say the ACC, actually, when the schools leave, they're going to be sitting on a pot of money.
Yeah.
So they're going to sit on a pot of money. They got the ACC network, and so they can work hand in hand with ESPN. It's just too many ways. The Big 12 is going to be at a disadvantage. So a lot of people, they ain't gonna want to hear that, but they would be at a disadvantage.
And what if Texas Tech and Cody Campbell? What if they agree with you? What if they're looking at it like, yeah, we're going to be at a disadvantage? What if they agree with this scenario, future scenario? Then that could, along with this poor relationship, that could ignite a Lubbock quick strike, right?
I agree with you on that, because remember a while back we talked about this when everything blew up about that quarterback, and I said Cody Campbell is a thorn in the Big 12 as well as in the commissioner, and they both these men may wash their hands clean. Hey, Texas Tech, you can go. I ain't got to worry about that headache. And it'll be a clean slate. They'll settle on whatever money it may be to get out. It's very possible. I mean, people say, no, it won't happen, but this is very possible. It'll be a clean slate for the Big 12 and their commissioner. Cody can go over there and he can help build up the ACC. He bring his money over. You never know what Notre Dame going to do, but I do believe Notre Dame is not going to sit there. They're going to wind up going to the Big Ten. I just don't see them staying there now. Push come to shove, if the Big Ten do a small strike and with a promise that they're going to hold space available for Notre Dame, then Notre Dame will sit right there with the deal they have with the ACC until they put pressure on them. That's the whole thing. This is very possible. I know we speculated, but it's very possible that this can play out. The loser on this would be the Big 12, because where you going to go to build, what brands you have in the Big 12, that's another thing. What you going to get for your next team, your media contract. I guarantee ACC, they're going to lose some money, but it ain't going to be a whole lot when they go ahead and start backfilling and put the Orlando market on the table, the Tampa market on the table. And the thing about the ACC, you got a chance to, correct all the wrongs that was done in the past and bring in programs that are invested in football. Mm-hmm. That's what you're going to do. Everything moving forward, you got to be invested in football. You got to show proof of concept, because look at University of South Florida, what they're doing down there. They're spending oodles of money in Tampa with the stadium, everything. Same thing, Orlando over here with UCF, they're doing the same thing with their stadium. So the name of the game is you got to spend money to make money to move where you got to go. If you ain't spending no money, I don't know what to tell you. But you're going to have to invest in your football program, facilities, and everything. And I always say this because some people over here keep saying that we broke, FSU broke. Keep in mind, all debt is not bad debt. So that's the only thing I'm saying.
You got it.
All right.
I appreciate it, Mr. Simmons. Thanks for the call, my man.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful call by the legendary, the man, the myth, the legend, Morris Simmons. I do want to thank Bruce Harris, Jacob Cat, Eva Badger, Kenneth Maynard, Yvonne Gully, Christopher Hooter for all of your donations, generosity. I do appreciate it. Today we did the spotlight on the East Carolina Pirates. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And I got to say, I am pretty impressed. I think East Carolina is a threat to win the American and a possibility to be the G6 representative in the college football playoffs. Right now, I've got it between East Carolina and UNLV. We've got more spotlights to do. We've got about 7 more, I believe, 6 or 7 more in the G6. And then we'll be done with our 80 spotlights, 80 of them, on 80 different live shows throughout the off season. We at College Football Peek Around the Corner, we cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. We even did a speculation zone show today. Just speculation. I do not have any steam on this, but we wanted to speculate on Texas Tech potentially, possibly calling the ACC someday. And we went through the great article written by Jim Williams, how the Big 12 and the Texas Tech conflict is fueling ACC exit rumors. We went through the article. It was a beautifully done article. Cody Campbell and the Big 12 upgrade narrative. If you missed it, Go back to the beginning of our program. Go watch it. I want to thank all of you for joining us on this beautiful Saturday, July 11th. I'm very humbled that any of you would want to spend time with PATC during a beautiful Saturday when it's not college football season yet, but we are 7 days away. 7 Saturdays away, 7 Saturdays away from college football. So buckle up, embrace for impact. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, smash the like button if you've liked our content, ring the notification bell. We popped up on today. You got to have that notification bell rung to improve your chances of getting notified. Follow us at Flug Empire on X. That also helps as well to get notified. I want to appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. Until next time, from all of us at College Football's Peek Around the Corner, to all of you, please, y'all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family. Golden Gophers.